Happy Memorial Day weekend, everybody. We just saw Furiosa, a Mad Max Saga in IMAX. That's right, in IMAX, but is it any good? We'll talk. Hi, how you doing today? It's Just Jess here. I hope you're having a good day. And today, yes, so we got the movie Furiosa, a Mad Max Saga, and we went to go see this in IMAX, but is it worth it in that format? Honestly, absolutely yes, but there are some caveats to this. You do get the bigger screen for the action, which is amazing. However, I don't think, and I couldn't find backup articles, and I did experience it, that the movie is not filmed or shot for IMAX, so you do not get the expanded aspect ratio. You see the black bars on the top and the bottom. If you don't know what that is, I'm doing it right now. As for you folks, it's not noticeable, but you do see it in the screen when I was watching it literally yesterday in the theaters in IMAX. You still get to hear the powerful in-depth audio experience, and the world building is cool, especially in this format. Furiosa, a Mad Max Saga is an action-adventure post-apocalyptic movie prequel from the 2015's version of Mad Max Fury Road. It's set 15 years before the events of that movie takes place, and it's already been 9 years since that movie came out in theaters. That's right, in theaters. In this movie, we see Anya Taylor-Joy play as a younger version of Furiosa, literally leading up to the events of what happened in Mad Max Fury Road. So when this movie ends, it literally connects to the beginning of that movie. Her world gets torn upside down when a character, Debentus, played by amazing Chris Hemsworth, his people, his tribe, capture her, but after she tries to retaliate and release from his captivities, he goes on a tragic event that happens to her family. Will she able to escape or to attack him back? Find out as we talk about it. I'm gonna be very honest with you guys. The 2015 versions of Mad Max came out in May 15 of 2015. Literally 10 years after that date, I was dating, let's just call her Makoto. I asked Makoto out in Cheesecake Factory, so during that time, I knew of this movie, but I didn't watch it in theaters 9 years ago because when I looked at it, I'm like, you know what? This looks cool, but it's not something I would live in. If Furiosa didn't come out, I wouldn't have watched Mad Max, to be very honest with you. I literally watched Mad Max for the first time 2 days ago. Yes, granted, on my home on like a 4K UHD TV, which looked amazing, and I was like, wow, I can't believe this cultural phenomenon, which I'm not saying that like in a bad way, but I never got to experience it 9 years ago, of course, with the girlfriend and with the drinking, you know, with Makoto. It was just a little bit time for me back then, 9 years ago, and I do like the world that they created, and I can't believe all these 9 years I didn't watch the one that kicked off the series. Well, there was like 1980s film, but I wasn't even alive that time, so I'm just like, damn, I should have catched it up, but of course with the YouTube, with reviewing it for you guys, I had to catch it up here for you guys. Although, let's be honest, we don't see Anya Taylor-Joy literally until like 1 hour after the movie starts. We see a younger actor playing as her, and she does an amazing job. But I've done some research, and I'll link some of the articles below, and I'll post them on for you guys. I guess when they did the younger actress, they tried to blend in the faces of Anya Taylor-Joy and the younger actress using like this dual technology. Some of the interviews will explain better, but as the movie progresses, Anya Taylor-Joy gets her face turned to the dial, as what she says to be in the interview, until she's literally the role herself, until there's no need for the younger actress, because she's literally, I don't know what she is, a young adult or a teenager, until she fits the events of what's going on.
So George Miller had the idea like very, very early on that he wanted, because like the audience was already getting used to a new Furiosa.
Yeah.
He wanted the transition from both actors playing her to be seamless. And so I did 2 days of like the craziest things you could ever possibly imagine, and they mixed our faces together. And at the beginning of the movie, it's 35%. And then by the time I pick her up, it's gone up to 80%.
But both actresses, even the young one who's played Furiosa, they do hold up their own. Now, yes, of course, now that I've done some research, watched some interviews, Charlize Theron's version of Furiosa was a mesmerizing figure and did a lot to do that role in Mad Max. So yes, she is an amazing actress, Charlize Theron. And I don't say that don't hold a candle, but I do capture like her essence, especially when she was younger. And she's in a different place in her mind. So thinking, her feeling, what she's going about this in this world is just a different version. So there's a lot more leeway in terms of what's going on in the Mad Max Fury Road saga. Don't get me wrong, I love Anya Taylor-Joy. I think she's perfect. She's beyond perfection. But the one that I really liked watching and had the most thrilling time watching and hearing was obviously Chris Hemsworth. You can definitely tell, and you probably hear this a lot in other reviews, he had a great time doing this movie. I loved his charisma. Yes, he is a bad character. He is the antagonist. He's like the kind of crazy kid demonic figure that does bad things to bad people, and he tries to go against the boss, who's Immortal Joe. But seeing him, he he embodies this character with the prosthetics, with the makeup, with his high-pitched voice, with the teddy bear that he has like in the trailers. I'm like, dude, this guy is fun to watch. And Chris Hemsworth himself, I can see based on what I'm seeing in the screen that he had a great time being this role. Yes, we of course know Chris by the Thor, you know, and the God Hammers from MCU, but he plays a whole different figure. Like, he has a broad range of his actor powers that a lot of people probably don't know until they watch this film, because all they watch is Thor and MCU movies that we've seen him in. But seeing him in this role, he just can really broaden his horizons and his actor. And to be honest, I wouldn't mind seeing him in a more comedic takes. Yes, I'm not saying that he's a comedic role in this part. He does have some nice laughs, but what he does is very evil, which we'll talk about in a minute. From what I gather from all this Mad Max Fury Road, like sequels and prequels and stuff, there isn't really a lot of story. I mean, yes, there is, but it's less story than your traditional movie formats that came out on Scream, and even Anya Taylor-Joy. I feel like this is the less amount of dialogue she has. She does a lot of acting with her body, her movement, her beautiful white perfectly eyes. Now, I will talk about that right now, because in all her movies, which is The Queen's Gambit, which is a show, The Last Night in Soho, and of course, The Menu, which I really love, her eyes is a big stand on her for as an actress. They're white, they're pearly, they're big, they're beautiful, they're really big, and they're not as a bad thing. They complement her. I feel like that's one of her greatest features, and they use that to like amazing effects, because she uses those eyes. And even before, when I saw the movie, I even saw interviews that I'll link below and I'll put it on screen for you. She had to do a lot of acting with those eyes, because she's covered in mud and tattoos and like makeup and like badlands and sweats, and like we see those beautiful eyes just perk out doing things. I'm like, wow, that's amazing.
For a large portion of the movie.
So you have to act with your eyeballs.
Only eyeballs for like a large portion of it, and that can feel really scary from a Mad Max movie. Is okay, here's some eyeball acting.
But don't get me wrong, as much as I like Anya Taylor-Joy, Chris Hemsworth character, yes, he does some unforgivable things, but he's like the one who talks the most in this movie. You know, it's like, ready your engines. And I was like, dude, that's amazing. And like, guess what? His wife in real life plays a cameo in this role, which I'm not gonna ruin it for you, but she shows up. I'm like, what? That's cool that her wife and Chris Hemsworth were playing a movie together in this movie. If you liked the 2015 versions of Mad Max, I feel like you would feel right at home at here. It has everything that movie has, especially in this movie as well. It's set during the Badlands, so it's like completely wastelands. Human civilizations has like downright been diminished based on like a plague or whatever happened. It's post-apocalyptic. However, there's a lot of heavy gun metal things, like the soundtrack, like there's a lot of vehicle combat and like face tattoos, punk rock, bad boys and bad girls. It's like that world, you know. I don't want to say dark and gritty and messy, and I'm not saying that as to be mean. I'm just saying this is the world that they created in terms of the world building. However, one thing in the 2015's version, there was a guy playing the guitar in front of the car, and like there's speakers in the back. There's nothing here. I mean, yes, there's a guy in a speakerphone, but keep in mind, this is a prequel from the 2015 movie. So yes, he has a speakerphone, he's like different interactions, but I loved everything, the action, the vehicle combat, the two factions apacing each other, and the way they did, you know, climbing on top of the roof, climbing on top of the cars, you know, trying to glide. But there's one movie that I feel like this movie took inspiration, and a lot of people were like, ooh, Dune came out a few months ago, and that movie kind of has similar themes and tropes. Let's just be honest, Dune to me feels like a more high critical thinking, more like technology based, more broad into the horizons. This just feels like more darker and grittier and like nastier and dirtier, which, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that to be mean, but Dune felt a little bit more clean because there's different planets, what we've seen from that franchise. But still, this isn't a world that I would want to live. That's why I didn't want to watch the 2015 version, because I was like, I don't want to live here. You know, even though it stands out, it's a nice touch, I was just like, that's what drawn me to the project to begin with. You know, I was like, oh wow, you know what, let's see how this world would be. I do like watching it and experience it, but I wouldn't want to live here. I'm more of a cyberpunk, futuristic anime house martini classy type dude. So to me, I was just like, yes, but I do recognize it's a creative, amazing work of art. The world building, the sets design, the cinematography, the way this world is created, I do gotta take my subjectivity off the film and let you know, I don't want to live here. I don't want to like do this, because I'm just like, no, this is not that me. I'd rather be at a rooftop bar, drinking martinis, being classy house music. But I do recognize that this is an amazing film because of the aspects that I just saw. Everything that George Miller did, the director, is fully realized to like his thoughts here. Yes, we had Dune, and I still prefer Dune more, and Anya Taylor-Joy was still in Dune as well, but still, it's like, wow, this is more darker and grittier and dirtier. Not in terms of the bad ways, but this is like where you put your black leather jacket on and like you hear the spikes, you know, punk, metal, rock, you know, EDM, dubstep. That's what I feel like this world is. You know, not that it's not good, but it's just not something I would want. Yes, sometimes I will wear the black jackets to be a bad boy, but not all the time. You know, my more car is a tuner type. You know, I like being Japanese. This is more darker cars, you know, heavy metal. You know, there's like things, like 2 engines. I'm like, yeah, no, this is not me. Like V8s. I'm more of a V4 tuner type, like a Brian O'Connor type, dude. On a negative note though, this movie's runtime is 2 hours and 30 minutes and you can feel it at certain points, but in no way I wanted the movie to end because I was such in awe of what I was experiencing and feeling and even being immersed in this world. Now keep in mind, I don't want to live in it, but I do want to see it, all the intricacies of it, because I am interested in this world. I'm just like, yeah, I don't like it. I don't want to live in it, but still, I do gotta say this is an entertaining time to see and also experience for a little bit. The movie goes through 5 progressive segments of like the runtime towards the 2 hours and 30 minutes, but I do gotta warn you guys, a lot of people, especially in the theater when I was walking out, I want to say maybe there's a trigger warning because there's a lot of things that happens to bad people and also good people. The way these people get decimated, it's like inhumane ways. And the way like people are attacking the vehicle combats, like there's a lot of death and destruction in this movie. Yes, that's what it's going for, but still a lot of people, I don't want to say maybe just be careful for a darker and grittier take, like trigger warnings, but I think that's one of the reasons why I didn't get into the 2015 version. But then again, I'm older now and I'm much more different than last time, you know, but sometimes it's just more inhumane ways. But the heavy metal soundtrack that accompanies this film going forward, and even all the scenes I do like. Now, yes, keep in mind, I told you I like more of that house music, but I did find some of the scores that accompaniment the film cool. You know, I was like, you know what, maybe I'll have that one song in my playlist that I'll listen to. You know, sometimes I like beginning into that dark techno, so I'm like, wow, this is pretty cool of that. Like I told you, with some aspects I do recognize it's a good film, and for that, at the end of the day, I'm gonna give this an A. I thought this world was amazing, even though, like I told you, I don't want to live in it. I do appreciate for the creative work of art that this is, and this movie deserves an A+ rating. I'm like, dude, especially in IMAX, I had a great time. If you made it this far, I really appreciate you. Maybe consider hitting that like button and turning on notifications so you never miss a video. And with that, take care, bye.